So Larry Fink says we're probably in a recession right now already. JP Morgan says the probability of a recession has gone up from 40% to 60%. And if you don't know who Larry Fink is, he's no other than the CEO of BlackRock. Guys, welcome to the channel, The Modern Survivalist. And preparedness is what we do here. I've been doing this for many, many years. Of course, I got started with this topic specifically, going through the economic collapse of Argentina, which I always mention in my videos promoting my books, Surviving the Economic Collapse, as well as street survival skills and bugging out and relocating. But I'm getting a lot of these questions lately about, okay, you talk about security, self-defense, problems with services, infrastructure, the social issues, but specifically about the economy, about money. How is it that you prepare to go through an economic collapse? How is it that you go through a recession when you have periods of inflation, of stagnation, of economic troubles? Well, this is the kind of thing I've been talking about for a long time. I think all of it is relevant. That's why I do it. It affects so many areas of your life, but specifically about money, right? In terms of, I'm just not making enough. I'm not making it to the end of the month. What is that I should do? Well, having gone through these things, having seen a lot of people go through it as well, I have a very short, it's going to be 6 points, really. It's really not all that long. But every single one of these could be several hour-long conversations or videos. The first one, number one, is spend less money, right? Spend less. That's what I wrote down. Spend less. Find ways of spending less money. Oh, but I already spend as little. Are you sure? Because I'm very sure there's probably people you know that spend less money than you do. And they don't have a particularly different lifestyle entirely. Yeah, maybe little things here and there. We can all do better in terms of spending less money. You need to work on a budget. Once you have a budget figured out, you need to work on reducing unnecessary expense as much as possible, finding cheaper alternatives for whatever you're doing. Sometimes it's as simple as, phone call and finding another insurance for your house, car, medical, whatever it is, finding something cheaper. The more you reduce these fixed costs that you have, these fixed expenses that you have, the better it is. Another thing that you really have to be very careful, especially on a certain level of the typical middle class, that you're not rich, but you can't afford this. Stop wasting money. Honestly, stop wasting money on crap you don't really need. A lot of the things that I do here, when I show yet another knife or yet another whatever, it's either because I get it specifically because this is my profession, this is my work, this is what I actually do, so I actually need it. It's not I need 1,000 knives. I show you stuff because I know that's of interest. And it does help in making a good decision when you're buying something when you actually need it. If you have it already and you're working on making that budget a lot tighter, you don't need to buy anything else. So stick to the essentials. Learn to say no. This is maybe the hardest thing to do. The rest of the things I'll mention here are not nearly as important as this one. The first one, which is stop spending money. You know, Javier Milei, the president of Argentina, the libertarian president that is famous for no hay plata. Literally, there's no money. Stop asking for budget for this. There's no money. Minister, there's no money. No money. Education, no money. There's no money. So we cannot spend that which we don't have. We're not going to go into debt even more. We just don't spend any money we don't have. That's number one, all right? Work on reducing your expenses as much as possible. You can always do better, always. And not at the expense of really reducing your quality of life in general, all right? At least not in any significant manner. It's just about saying no to lots of the things that you usually say yes. Number two, make more money. Right? That should be obvious enough, but maybe this is about finding some other employment. Maybe you're currently employed and you're happy. Could you be making more money? Yeah, but well, go for it. Go for making more money. Money is going to be important now. We're talking about preparedness for an economic crisis. We're talking about preparedness for an economic collapse. You want to be making as much money as possible. Is safety in your workplace? Sure, that's important. Right? But I've been working here for 10 years. I don't want to change jobs even if I could make a little bit more money. You know what? When things really go down, no one's going to care. You think we can't fire Dave. He's such a great guy. He's been working here they don't care. They will fire your ass the moment it is necessary to do so. They will not even blink. So make as much money as possible within your line of work. Maybe start your own side gig, maybe work on something, even if it's just printing a few cards, and see what happens. At least it's something. It's a lot better than having nothing at all. Maybe you do a little bit of an investment here and there, maybe get a friend of yours, a partner, someone to get something going. Even in these trying times, there's always little silver lining things that you can work on. All of a sudden, whatever it is, working a few hours extra, maybe working a little bit on weekends, even if it's just a guy with a van moving stuff on weekends. Whatever amount of extra money you can make, if you are serious about it, you will consider doing it. Oh, but I have this much better idea. Okay, go with that. I'm not saying everyone should be delivering pizza in their weekends, but every little bit you can do so as to make more money, that's gonna be number 2. Number 3, save up a rainy day fund. This is gonna be cash mostly, right? Especially for most people that have nothing at all saved. Most people, I read somewhere, and I'm pretty sure this is still the case, most people don't even have $500, $400, $1,000 in case they need it. They just go, and just, they don't have it. You really need to work towards that. I know it's not always easy. I can tell you a bunch of crap that I see in the background doing my videos. I could easily sell it for a good amount of money. Maybe do that right now. The thing is, if you want to go and sell the third Glock that you'd have and never use, it's a lot easier and it's a lot better, and you will get a lot more money if you don't have to do it in a rush. If you realize that this is money you need to turn right now into cash in case of an emergency, it is much better to do it right now than do it when you desperately need it at that moment. You're going to have to lower your price a lot more because you just don't have the time. If you do this in a responsible manner and realize, okay, do I have an emergency fund? Yeah, I do. No, I don't. Okay, I need one. Look, in every American household, I know this to be a fact. Basically, in every American household, you can probably get rid of half the crap in there. Not only are you going to make more money, you will have more room. You don't need so much stuff. There is this obsession with accumulating shit and it's very typical. I mean, it happens everywhere, but it's very typical of the American culture of bigger is better and more is better. No, honestly, many times a house that's not full of crap. I'm talking even about furniture, man. There's places which this place would be a lot better if it had half this stuff I'm seeing right now in this place. You don't say anything because you want to be polite, but you see this fairly often, all right? So work on having a little amount of emergency funds, and then you can get into diversifying and having bonds and having stocks and having precious metals, gold, crypto. Talking about gold specifically, remember you have the link there for Augusta Precious Metal Gold IRA. That's a great way to plan ahead for your future in physical gold with the benefits of going through a gold IRA. Yeah, the link for Augusta is going to be in the description of the video. Number 4, right? So, spend less, make more, savings in case of an emergency. The way in which you go about these things is, again, each one of these, maybe I should do a specific video, and I will do just that. I will do subscribe to the channel right now. I promise I will do each one of these a specific video because it's totally worth it. But I want to go through these 6 points quickly. 4, get rid of debt. Any kind of debt that you have, work on reducing that as much as you can. There's always going to be something. There's going to be a mortgage. There's going to be, but car payments, honestly, really, you know that these are the things you should buy in cash. If you don't have the money, just don't get it. And if you are in a certain economic level that, okay, I have a nice fancy car and I'm okay, I'm not going to judge anyone. But reduce debt as much as possible. You don't want that monkey on your back when things get worse than they are now. All right. Number 5, get rid of debt. Get out of the system. Right? Get out of the system means there is an entire world outside there besides whatever country you happen to be in. If you're in the United States, there's other countries. If you are wherever it is that you are, there are other countries. And each of these countries have their own financial systems, their own financial networks. It is all very much interconnected, but trust me, because I've seen this myself, even if the bank says the same name as it says in that other neighboring country, if yours is the one that says, well, yeah, it is too bad, but shit happens, you know. They do this all the time. Banks will, in the same way your employer will not blink about making this decision between you and them, it's going to be you. The same thing happens with banks. If banks have to decide in screwing you or screwing themselves, they're going to screw you. They've always done this. Don't be surprised when it happens again, because that's something you need to accept as a fact. They will prioritize their own well-being, and the way things are these days with politicians, with the lobbying, with the agendas, with the politicians that have their backers, their supporters, those that have financed them all along, that still give them money, well, that's going to be the people they will look after. So find ways of having options outside of that. Go on holidays, opening a bank account elsewhere. These days, there's lots of options without leaving your house. There's options online. Curiously enough, it is maybe the most difficult for Americans, but you have to work on that. Plan your next holiday somewhere else. Open a bank account somewhere else. Somewhere in which you can easily transfer funds if necessary. Because if things really get bad, that is the Trump card. I'm not talking about Donald Trump. I'm talking about the real Trump card of, yeah, okay, I'm not even here anymore. Oh, but whatever. My money is not in this system anymore. It is in that system now. So, yeah, good luck with that. This does not mean you have to even leave the country. You can stay in the same country in which you are, but your money is not there anymore. What you're talking about an offshore, yeah, that's exact. It is perfectly legal. There is nothing wrong with it. It is not, oh, Jason Bourne. No. It is perfectly legal to do so. Talk with your financial advisor, the best way to go about it. But yeah, you can and you should do it. So much so that that's my point number 5. Point number 6, maybe the hardest one of them all, get out of there. So get out of debt, get out of the system, and get out of the country as a last resort. Now, this is something that we're talking about a far-fetched worst case scenario. Yes. But you know what? I've gone through it. I know other people that have gone through it. I know people in Venezuela that went through that. It has happened in the United States that people had to do that too. Was what, 1930? You know, the Great Depression. If you had the option of not being there, you were not there anymore. In the case of a lot of people that lost, famously losing the farm to the bank, they had no other option than getting on a truck and just getting as far as they could. If they could have gone to some other country and make a living there, they would have done that. They couldn't do it. They have no tools to do that. If things get horribly bad, it could be the case. I'm not saying it is, but it could be. Within the realm of possibilities, yes. And you know what? Like with everything else, it's always better if you plan ahead of time. Okay, where would I go? I'm going to move to Canada if the United States goes under. Oh, no. I'm going to move to Mexico. I'm going to move to where? What is your plan? Do you even have one? No. Because I've read online that if something happens in the United States, everywhere else go. Do you really still think that? Do you honestly believe that that's going to be always the case? That if something super terrible happens in the United States, nowhere else could possibly be better? That is simply not the way things work. That's just not reality. If it's specifically something that is affecting your country and no one has, the future reassured at this point, we're in a very volatile economic situation with a trade war ongoing as we speak. This is something you should consider. You don't even have to do anything, but what would be your move if you have to leave right now? This is very similar to if you have to leave right now because of a forest fire, natural disaster, flood, alien invasion, whatever the case is, whatever you are, you have to leave. Where are you going? Where are you going if you have to leave your neighborhood? Where are you going if you have to leave your city? Where are you going if you have to leave your state? Where are you going if you have to leave your country? This is something that I specifically wrote about in Bugging Out and Relocating, a book that you also have there in the links there below. Folks, that's going to be all for now. I don't want to bore you with a very long video, but this is something that is, and yeah, I'm doing this because it's being requested a lot through the comments and through email by a bunch of people. So folks, I'll be doing these videos specifically. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Is this something you're interested in, or do you have any other specific questions? I'll be more than happy to answer those. See you on our next one. Take care.